Hello, you are listening to Revolution Radio from slips.com. This is Studio A, or as normal people say, A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name is Monty Dean. Hello, everyone. We are back after 6 days and 22 hours. And big thank you to Why Not and the Y-Files. It's good to hear laughter coming into a comedy show, because this is a comedy show. We may not be good at it, but compared to the rest of the station, this show is quite laughable, let's be fair. If you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to said website, freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio. It's hot here, so the brain's just gone, you know what, today I'm not doing anything. And donate what you can so we can continue on sharing this information here on Revolution Radio in its 10th year. See, me, math's bad, speaky. Our 11th year, because we started on the 1st of January 2011. There you are. Once you're at the website, go to the Zazzle store that we have, buy merchandise, as well as hats and everything else like that. And onesies for the little ones. And most of the United States is under a blanket of snow, so hopefully we should get like a rug or just fire. Then pop into the chat room, which like-minded, just liked people and loved. It's a family there. And a big thank you to Omega Legolos, or Logos. It's actually like, I just call him OL because, we're close. And I also can't speak his name. If you'd like to join us here on Revolution Radio, the Planet Collingwood, just give me a message via the Skype. Praise the internet gods. Connectivities. I keep getting her name wrong, so stuff it. But she has twin sons, Downloadius and Updatius, and I'll add you to the call. Here's a couple of guests that I prepared earlier. There isn't a video of that. They just turned up before the show went to air, so there you are. Tonight's show is called The President's Brain is Missing, because we're going to start talking about Emperor Biden to start off with, and then we can go anywhere, talking about toast, marshmallows, the incorruptible essence of the sun that beams life towards us. Yeah, options. But I've been joined by Brandon Young, Cortek, Steve Zerilath, and Bruce MacDonald. So I'll slowly go through that list one more time, because I'm trying to make this sentence as long as possible while I run out of air. Brandon Young, my hip-hop buddy from a group that a rap group we never used before. B Young is in the house. Yo.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on, Monty.
Oh, you're welcome. It's good to have a chat. And this is my only social life. I decided to record it and broadcast it on the internet. So, you're hiding something. Not really, no. Who else? Cortek, our New South Welshman correspondent.
Hello. I thought I'd just come in for a chat too. It's a good time of week to have a chat with people.
Yeah, well, being an open round table where there's chats and it's a talk radio station, so chatting is kind of needed. So, and also, dear listener, if you don't like what we're doing, Dave Scott is on Studio B, and he's really good at it. Like, he has a following. Now, why am I mentioning not the opposition, but Dave and myself are both on YouTube, and so you can catch up on each show whenever you feel like it, once they're put up as well. So I can start doing that because these things are archived. And once the servers are back and up and running, the archives at the station will also. So, once again, options. Steve Zerilath, are you there, sir? Are we deliving today?
Mute syndrome?
Is he fumbling for the mute button?
Steve is a teapot at the moment.
He's a professional YouTuber.
Yep. And Bruce MacDonald. How are you, sir?
I'm all in, Monty. All in.
Did you not see the video?
It's bedtime.
I forgot to unmute, didn't I?
Yeah. Don't worry, you pointed that out to me 2 weeks ago. It's like, yes, that's right. That's why we get paid the big bucks. Well, I get paid the big bucks on welfare. This is more of a hobby. So, Steve actually has a job. He's better than me. He's been in bands. He's been on stage.
Yeah. I know. It's something special, or they say.
And you will again, my friend. Don't you once this lockdown finishes at the end of 2023.
You see, like I don't know if it went out on D Live. Yes, we are on D Live. But I opened up doing a paramime of the Emperor. So I think they heard it on D Live. So it kind of ruined the gravitas. But I said, I'm afraid the Great Reset will be quite operational when your Trump arrives.
Yes, unfortunately though, the Empire dies 20 minutes later after saying that. So
yeah, that is also true, and that also corresponds to a tarot reading you can find on my YouTube channel.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I used the Emperor meme where because we can get into the Gina Carano thing a bit later, and the anti-Semitism and all that, and a lot of basically one ramification from that whole thing was that people cancelling their Disney Plus subscription, and someone put up a meme. I'm so sorry, but Disney Plus will still be quite operational, even though you have.
Yeah, right.
And then I shared that.
I just recently watched The Black Cauldron on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Well, I shared that, and then I thought, but what if? So you think it's a bad thing? I was like, no, and my retort would be, yeah, but the Emperor dies 20 minutes later, so. Thank you, OL. Sound check. We've been checked. We have sound, which is kind of good for radio. Let's be fair. And I know Bruce gave us an answer, but everyone else was talking, so all I heard was bedtime.
I said, I'm all in, Monty, until my wife says it's bedtime.
Well, because you're a good husband and you want to live.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm catching up on that.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it's like, what do I think of it? Well, I watched 19 episodes in 2 days. Yeah, I'm getting into it. Yeah.
From what I understand,
it goes
downhill in the seasons I didn't see.
Yeah, apparently it sucks, but it's a series that actually gets to end, and it's running parallel in the same universe as the films, and so I've decided I will buy the Blu-rays, and then one day I will watch all the movies as well as the TV show in sequence, because that's how much of a geek I am. I've watched the Clone Wars, the Star Wars Clone Wars in the timeline. I mean, and that's what 6 seasons. It's around about 200 episodes.
Those are great, though.
Oh yeah, but it's just so. It's like, are you a Star Wars fan? Oh yeah, I love the 6 films. What about the TV show? Oh no, I don't watch that. You're not a fan.
So it's just a sign of the time we live in, that recreation has become a discipline.
Yeah, I remember.
Everything's inverted. I think if I eat proper and I maintain my stamina, I should be able to finish all 3 seasons in 2 days.
Yeah, well, I remember last year.
Beyond ketosis.
I remember last year. I remember last year people were saying, "Yeah, I finished Netflix. What do I do now?" Because of the lockdown. So. Go ahead, Steve.
It's like the trials of Hercules. It's just like watching TV has become a Greek epic in people's value sets.
Well, yeah, I was on the Unfrackers chat yesterday, and I was basically pointing out how the power of comedy is awesome, where it's got to the point where everything's so tragic, you just break through that. You go so tragic, it turns into a comedy again. You turn that corner of like, this is just ridiculous. Like Emperor Biden.
2 options of a laugh or cry.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like you start crying and then you start laughing from the So
now you're a psychopath.
Yeah, you cry and then you start laughing and then you start cry laughing because it's just one big joke.
And you start laughing like the Joker. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. The trick is if you do it correctly, you're sane because of the false narrative that the mainstream media puts out there. The Jokers just went nuts, and would probably be in the Biden administration is probably the director of transport or however you say it. Everyone will run on time or I'll kill you. See, that's what Hitler did. One good thing, he got the trains to run on time. Mind you, the threat of death. You really want to have that, the number 14 on time. Emperor Biden, 2 things that he said. He did a town hall for CNN, so about 8 people saw it. And he said that when I became president, we didn't have the vaccine, even though the vaccines turned up in mid-December. And
he's talking about the polio vaccine.
back when I was young, when I remember seeing a young Ben Franklin give a speech. Thank you, Mr. Biden.
Yeah.
And the other one was that apparently genocide is a cultural norm if it's in China. So, yeah. And of course the media's like, President Biden won at Mario Kart, on the same day that 8,000 Americans died from coronavirus. But,
Hey, Monty, today, two really funny things happened on the internet through the magic of Telegram. Have you read President Trump's statement that came out from his office?
Not the whole thing, no. I just caught the headlines where it's just beginning.
He trolled Mitch McConnell. He politically freaking wiped the floor with him. Yeah, and it was funny. Yeah, it was very.
Well, of course, it's Trump. I mean, Trump could easily be a stand-up comic. And,
What you're really gonna love, Monty, is that I also follow Lynn Wood on Telegram, and he trolled the election through a Super Bowl turnover joke.
Ooh.
It was very smart. I think you would be proud of him.
Yeah, it's probably the only thing I probably would be proud of, because everything else sounds like stuff. I'll just say it that way.
Here you go. I'm gonna drop it in chat for you to amuse yourself with.
Man on Fire. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't mind that film. So there you go. Anyway,
Man on Fire.
Yeah, Denzel.
You ever read the book? The book is actually pretty good.
I think the book was first, and then they made it into a movie. And I believe this is a rumor, ladies and gentlemen, so take it with a large grain of salt, the size of a football. The author was happy with the production of the film.
Portrayal.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
How can you not be? Denzel Washington,
Yeah. Be interesting to see.
What are we talking about?
The book and movie called Man on Fire.
Man on Fire. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
It's pretty good. This
and
is
another
strong anti.
Yeah, and another movie that's coming out as well. Hope one day soon in reality, which could be 1,000 years, is they're doing another version of Dune. And I may read the books because it's kind of scary. Where the first 3 books, humanity's battling AI. I'm like, oh, my interest has picked up now.
I'm looking forward to the AOC biopic, starring my Asian actress, Kamala Harris.
Well, nice, because in England they actually have who knows the British royal family history. Henry VIII married Anne. Oh dear God, no! But they're making it's not Anne of Green Gables, but Anne. But they've cast a beautiful black woman. And it's like, well, clearly,
I saw that. Yeah. Controversial.
Because it's a history piece. Why you don't change? I'm sure Anne was actually Norman Scott.
I mean,
surely they're just doing it for publicity.
Well, yeah, and apparently everyone's pointing out, it's a historical film where Anne wasn't black, and that's not being racist. That's using facts, and people are like, oh, all these white people are just collapsing
with their facts.
Yeah, and I actually very fragile. I actually shared a meme of Ryan Gosling apparently is going to star in the Obama pic.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I saw that meme, actually.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
So that's been fun. I've chosen Brie Larson to play Rosa Parks. It's going to make millions of dollars.
And I'm assuming Mike
Can I get
Jordan's
in on that?
Go ahead, Bruce, and then Steve.
Well, your timing's bad there, Zerilath. You just like are you deaf in one ear?
My timing's been getting worse lately. Sorry.
He's a jazz musician now.
My ideal biopic would be Roseanne Barr as Maya Angelou.
Oh, what about Roseanne Barr as Henry Kissinger?
Gets it.
Roseanne Barr as Henry Kissinger. That would be brilliant.
I'm not working the cheap seats here. Brandon gets it.
Oh yeah.
I'm playing to the band.
Skybox, only Skybox over here, baby.
Who would play John Kerry in John Kerry's biopic?
Lurch, the guy.
Lurch.
Plays Lurch.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I could see a young Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's very good
Oh
playing
yeah,
robots.
okay.
So,
Yeah, right.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just saying. I assumed Michael Jordan was going to play Michelle in the Obama pick.
Controversial. But,
Charles Barkley.
Yeah. Shaq O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaq's a bit closer.
Yeah.
And Shaq's good. Like, he was in that movie, I think it's called Kazam, which came out, now, depending on your timeline.
The Disney one.
Yeah, but depending on your timeline, was around about the same time as the movie by Sinbad called
Sinbad.
Kazam. Or Shazam.
Right.
Yeah. One was Kazam. That was Mr. O'Neill was Kazam. And then Sinbad was Shazam. And then Sinbad said, I never made that film. And it's like, oh, Mandela effect.
And then Shaq, and then he died, and then Shaq Fu is a whole different video game.
I remember that film, but I guess we've been there before, haven't we, talking about that? Did you guys look for it and couldn't find it or something?
Yeah, even John Z said, a friend of mine actually had the video and he can't find it now. It's like, weird stuff's happening.
Yeah.
I just finished those Dune books on Audible. I loved the first one, so I had to go back and kind of go through the first one again. But then I went through the second and third one, just listening while I did other stuff. It's an easy way to get through it.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do with the new movie, you know.
Well, the David Lynch one is unique because it's David Lynch, but it's still a classic. And I mean, Sting's like, the man can play bass and sing, but he can act like a mother lover. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good budget for sets and costumes actually in that first one.
Sean Young is great. My mom, Sean Young, is great.
Yeah, I loved her in Ace Ventura as well. She actually got
It's
out
interesting.
She got out of the.
That was another. Yeah, Einhorn and Finkel and Einhorn.
She started getting into conspiracies and stuff, and started hanging around Freeman Fly and whatnot. Remember that?
I didn't know that, but it does make sense because she got out of the Hollywood machine and has been having a massive career in independent films.
That's it. Yeah.
And she's still working, creating. I hate the term creating content, creating films and movies, and like
she's a great influencer.
Yeah, and like let's get into the Gina Carano crap. Some people said, well, why doesn't she just work with Kevin Sorbo and do all those Hallmark movies? It's like, Kevin Sorbo has a very lucrative. I know, but he's still working and he's making money.
Kevin Sorbo's doing Christian filmmaking. I saw the
Christian
trailer.
Films, yeah.
Film. So, you don't have to have a Christian awakening to all of a sudden say something that a Republican agrees with.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you have to go watch his films, but he is still creating films and working, but it's outside the machine. Gina Carrero, for those who have
the machine of cameras.
Peter would.
No one watches them.
Oh, Lord save. Yeah, whatever.
No, it's just weird. It's like those things. It's like brought to you by next, and they're like so predictable. Like those. If you ever seen those Netflix Christian shows, it's just
not really. I'm not a big fan of.
Oh man, I love.
Sounds like a whole new category to laugh at.
This
dorky white preacher will never turn around this black church.
Is it a comedy? It's not a comedy.
Yeah. They just lynch him. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Ironically, right?
Yeah. This is for 400 years.
It's a horror.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of reparations is like, cool, okay, let's, give black people all reparations for slavery, and then you can pay rent to the Indians.
Yeah, and buy fried chicken off of the Colonel,
Because, how far back do you want to go back, it's like, you white people, it's like, I'm Irish. We've had 800 years of servitude. Shut up.
Right, yeah. Come on.
So, and also, who's aware of the differences in DNA? I think we're only, 3% different from a chimpanzee. I'm not causing evolution arguments here. No. But if you get it down to actual, what they call races...
Percentages.
Yeah, the differences of races, percentages is like what I'm picking a number, point
If
two.
that.
Yeah, basically it's completely ridiculous. Oh, you're subhuman because I'm what 0.2% different from you, you knob.
Well, I will say this: small percentages have big changes. You know, big, big things in genetics.
Talking about trillions of
No,
people.
I'm joking. That's the most.
This
racist
reminds me
thing.
of the Rick and Morty episode where you meet Rick's girlfriend, which is
She's a planet.
Unity.
She's a Unity consciousness civilization. You know, so she lives on the whole planet, or it's really both, because it's literally a collective hive mind. He can start making out with anybody on the planet because it's all the same person.
Yeah. And what I love about that as well is that there's an AI collective that's trying to get...
One of the characters brings them back to individuality, and one of them takes their shirt off.
Yeah.
And you find out that there's about 2 to 4 different species of the same people. They just have different nipples. And so they all happen to be racist and don't like people that don't have the same nipples as they do.
That's what starts them
Sounds
fighting
like the
again.
Bible.
And they have a race war the second that she gives them individuality.
They go right back. Yeah. If you've ever seen the original Star Trek, there's an episode. Who played the Riddler in the Adam West Batman? Frank Gorin, I think his name is.
He was one of the best.
He's a toughie.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome as the Riddler. But
Caesar Gomez or whatever.
Caesar, yeah, Caesar.
No, that's the Joker. The Riddler was Frank Gore something. Gorshin, I think he's. Anyway, you're on the internet. Look it up.
Yeah, he had a good suit, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, in the Star Trek episode, his face was half white, half black. But one side, the left side was white and the other side was black, and they're fighting with another species on the planet where the colors were completely reversed. That's the only difference.
Right.
So, Brandon, you would have white on the left side and black on the right side. I would have black on the left side and white on the right side, and that's where the whole conflict. And it's a great allegory. If anyone from Star Trek anyone making Star Trek now, allegory. That's one word. How could you save Star Trek? Allegory. And that's
something with some hidden levels.
Yeah,
something with some meaning.
I don't know why I watch Star Trek Discovery. Just I'm not even hate watching. It's more disappointment watching. And it's like, really, these people are annoying, and I want to punch them. But
you said it wasn't worth it.
Well, no. See, I watch it so I can tell you that.
You can't help yourself.
Yes, I need to, as the squeaky voiced kid from The Simpsons. I need closure on that anecdote. So,
here's your taco from the fryer. I'll get it out.
Ow.
Yeah, Frank Gorshin.
Yes, brilliant actor. Yeah, and so
Red suit.
If you've got a spare
the great
50...
Gorshins.
Yeah. The Gorshins of Pennsylvania. Yes.
Cool.
There's his IMDb profile.
Yes.
Oh, Gorshin.
Yes. Yeah. So if you've got 50 minutes spare,
Mr. World provides.
There you go.
That's
if you ever have 50
minutes,
50 minutes to spare, find that episode, and you'll just go, "Oh, this is how stupid racism is." Because the only difference was the colors are on different sides.
It's like Dr. Seuss or something. Like, that's like that Dr. Seuss story where
the Butter Battle book.
Or the ones where they have spots, or circles on them, and then they come out and they make fun of it, and then nobody has spots, and it's like they realize they were stupid and that, they were making spots, a big deal, and then they go right back to it, which is really interesting.
Well, I don't see the stories are remembered because they're so good and the imagination is awesome. But I don't know how many children are actually reading it because they may learn something about society. Mike Myers played the Cat in the Hat, and the only line I remember from that movie, it's like, oh, this is a kid's film, and it's like the argument about Star Wars. Oh, you didn't like Star Wars because it's made for kids. It's like, yeah, but kids like good stories as well. They don't want to watch shit.
Yeah.
And Cat in the Hat is pretty good, but except the one line where I think the 8-year-old boy says something to the cat, and he just turns, and it's Mike Myers go, "I will end you," and then goes back into character. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. He's a little scary, the Cat in the Hat. Tell ya.
Yes, so
Probably rip you apart. You know.
like a drop bear. Yeah.
Pretty close to your head.
Monster of a thing. Yeah.
I was also wondering about funny things. Oh, go on, Steve.
Saying kind of a benevolent, like, trickster spirit. You just had to trust that he was going to clean up in the end. You know, so it's like, don't worry. It's like the end of Jumanji. It'll all clean itself up. There's a Deus Ex Machina moment. Literally, he pulls out a machine that cleans the house, and the parents get home, and nobody's got an effing clue, just like in the book.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
everyone's
basically,
got green eggs and ham.
Yeah,
Just like weird science.
So that just explains where the creators of Risky Business got the idea. If you remember that film.
I was looking for other funny stuff today about...
How about Weird Science? Weird Science was the same thing. The house was wrecked. There was like a nuclear missile. The dude's brother was turned into a toad monster and a little goddess.
What's his name? What's the brother's name? Chet.
Yeah.
Chet, of course. Yeah.
And I think played by Bill Paxton. I could be wrong.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Game over, man. Game over.
Greasy. How about a greasy pork sandwich?
And Bill Paxton is the only person in history that's been killed by a predator, a Terminator, and an alien. And he's now okay. Mandela effect check. In my timeline, he passed on.
And Bill Paxton's also been killed by Agent Coulson.
Yes, he did. Yes, because he's in
And
season 1
COVID.
of Agents of Shield. And
That's right.
So am I picking up from this that Agents of Shield is worth watching?
yeah,
No, it's terrible.
No, well, it starts out well. So it's 2013.
It's not
it's
good.
2013 when the first season's created, and so it's interesting to see when the movies are released because the next episode's referencing that's happened in the movie, and I'm like, this is good writing. What's going on? This is only 7 years ago. So I think by season 5, either the woke liberal crap kicks in, or they stop hiring good writers, and it apparently starts to, it
season
slides.
I watched was the one where they go into the future and the Kree, a Kree faction has humanity on a slave colony. I watched all of that, especially the first half, which had Ghost effing Rider done righteous, and also did some awesome stuff with Hydra, and that was the last I saw, and I've heard bad things since.
Yeah, I should have really prefaced that paragraph with spoiler alert. Steve, like, I'm only up to season 2.
I know.
But no, it's understandable because
I didn't tell you what happened. I just sold you the season.
Well, that's true.
Can't stand a story where the guy kills himself and reveals himself to be the villain at the same time. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Oh, sorry, spoiler.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
should I get spoiler alert before you say that?
Can I just go to my whiteboard and put up a grid of the episodes I can't watch now because it's been ruined by this show?
You just erase the whole whiteboard.
I can't watch that episode now.
Oh,
I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
This was not that.
I know, but it's quite good if you like the films, but like the films as well. They sort of peaked and then started to trail off, and then they finished quite well.
Peggy Carter's boobs is what I like. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So
22 major movie pictures and 7 seasons of 22 episodes. I like the chick's boobs.
I'll take her with cancer, no cancer. You give me it.
Look,
anytime.
Outside of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the only Marvel show that wasn't on Netflix that I liked was
Agent Carter.
No, Agent Carter I thought was lame. They really missed to do some golden stuff with that series, but they made the first season really boring. But whatchamacallit? The Runaways. I think it's called The Runaways. Because it's a really good story about the occult family bloodlines. You got to watch it. It's cool.
Interesting.
It's the interesting thing, like watching Agents of Shield. Bruce, you may find it fascinating being a writer. Is that Hydra is so close? Like it's we can't. Someone would say it's like disclosure, but it's not, because they've just picked up on things. But it's fascinating to see where like when Shield collapses because Hydra was infiltrated and blah blah blah. It's like this is parallel to what's kind of going on. It's very interesting.
Okay.
So yeah, check out
Bruce,
season
you've never
2
seen
and
these
then go
things?
from there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't
Bruce
like it,
would
don't
like
watch
it.
it.
I think he'd like the Avengers, sort of like a Winter Soldier thing as well. Maybe, I don't know.
I've seen
Which,
the movies.
by the way,
okay.
various members of Congress have already proposed to take care of white racism in America in exactly the manner of the plot of Winter Soldier.
No
They
kidding. I believe it.
use the internet to tax strike all the patriots like me.
Yeah,
It's been proposed
That's right.
in Congress as a serious conversation.
Well, that's why the Gina Carrera thing. She has been posting stuff which does not follow the woke mindset, and all these idiots have freaked out and wanted her to be fired, and finally Disney let her go. And we'll talk up till there. Apparently the post that got her fired was that she pointed out that at the start of the Holocaust in Germany, the government, it wasn't the Nazi soldiers that were rounding up the Jews. It was the government and certain elements using manipulation and brainwashing and gaslighting to, neighbor to tell on neighbor. And it built up to the Holocaust. And then she said, the end of the quote was, picking on someone for their religious beliefs. How is that not the same as picking on someone for their political beliefs? And there was no mention of Democrat, Republican, or anything else like that. It was basically showing what we're seeing in the last 5 years, where wearing a red hat makes you a Nazi. Is the same way. Yeah. That's basically where it's getting at. It wasn't sort of like pointing the finger at one side, because they're almost as bad as each other. Almost. Antifa and BLM is slightly more, you don't really see the MAGA party, apart from the riots on July 6th, which is, I think, their first riot. You've had 5 years of Portland on fire.
That's
so
that
one, she's anti-Semitic, and then 2 days later she announced that she's working with the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro, who's an Orthodox Jew. So very good anti-Semite by working for one of them.
Look how they play both sides.
She's transphobic. She's transphobic because she refused to put pronouns in her Twitter profile. After months of harassment, she put up beep boop boop. And, of course, that means she wants to kill every trans person, which is, what's the percentage on the planet? How many transgender people there are? What, 0.003?
0.01.
Now,
that's why they're so scared.
Yeah,
it's not hard to do.
Yeah, but easy there, Tiger. I think your Norse things coming.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a small group of people. But the point is, like, it's not demeaning the small people, but it's why it's basically, why is it a minority trying to control the populace? It's not degrading.
Right.
Yeah, they see it as degrading, and she
because they're
mentioned
control
stuff.
freaks.
Yeah, well, not every. No, it's like saying, the Jews run the world. It's like, no, it's usually
every single last one of them.
I would like to get past 4 words in a sentence.
Go, ready?
Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to check. I'm producing right now. Yes, we have been joined by our East Coast correspondent, the Viking. How are you, sir? West Coast.
West Coast, Northern California.
See, I was flustered, and it's hot here.
Mendocino.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of, okay, I'll try this one. Speaking of Norse, we have the Viking with us.
There we go.
Nice.
I'm doing great, guys. I like
Welcome,
the series.
Viking.
As far as the correlation of our times, I like the series Blacklist with Spader.
Yeah, I'm enjoying that too.
That's a
Blacklist?
great series. Yeah, he basically goes over all the he's wiping out the Cabal and the CIA, and this is just the FBI. It's really a great movie.
I haven't seen
A
it.
series. It's a series.
Oh, it's a
Sounds
TV
like-
series.
It sounds like
What?
Yeah, it's normal TV. It's not like cable TV like HBO, but it's the best network TV show I've seen in about 20 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it
it's
come out in
really-
2013? Has it been around for a while?
It's
They're in they're in season 8, so you might be right. 2013.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well. Cool.
I got an important observation to make. So this girl that got fired, she's the female Mandalorian that everybody was talking about, right?
Well, she's in the Mandalorian.
No,
she's
yeah.
in the Mandalorian. She's actually from Alderaan, and she was a ranger in the Rebel Alliance.
Gotcha. Now they were arguing. Wasn't she the one they were arguing about her armor?
No,
became a big-
no. There was one idiot, technical term, one idiot that was complaining about an actual Mandalorian because they had armor that accommodated for female breasts. Because
Right.
I don't know if any ladies have put on male armor and wonder why it hurts.
Right.
It's called physics.
Yeah. You see, I think that there's a social engineering connection between the fact that her introduction was then immediately co-opted by everybody all of a sudden deciding to have a sexism conversation, because that was effectively a sexism conversation for whatever reason. And then this stuff happens, which is related to sexism, and she then gets canned after everybody fell in love with her, and there seemed to be some sort of agreement that boob armor is rational.
Boob
Right.
armor is the best.
Right, but also rational for a woman who
Completely
needs
rational. It's logical.
to protect her stuff and doesn't want to have surgery to
And
make
future
it
generations.
something
Yeah,
to that effect.
and strangely enough, you want your warrior or warrioress. Am I making up words again? You want your shield maidens to actually feel comfortable when they're hacking and slicing.
Ooh,
So,
They actually still wear that armor to this day. The
do they?
oh yeah, on the help me out here, Steve. The Hyperborea in the parallel dimension, which is above Ireland, that still lives.
Oh,
What's this
Like
guy's
High
this guy's
Brazil?
High Brazil.
Hyperborea, which is the Vikings. High Brazil is elves.
Yeah, High
Okay.
Brazil's a
Wow.
Hyperborea.
Is this guy with where Odin lives?
The Vikings are Asgard is their
Odin.
house.
Asgard. Yeah, so
yeah.
Asgard actually still exists in
Yes,
a
it
parallel
does.
dimension above. It's in the north, above England and in Ireland, and they came on my show it was last week, and the women still had full armor. I mean, the men had the face shields and
yeah.
and swords
Wow.
and chainmail, and
This,
and the
this was
women-
in
the women had their-
the braggy invocation, right?
right, you're right. The women had
Yeah.
face shields and these facial tattoos and
Yeah.
swords, and they're still in full regalia. Of course,
Yep.
if they're going up against reptilians, they're going to break out their ray guns. But I mean, they pretty much are in their choice of garb. You know, and
Yeah.
I heard
women do-
reptilians don't wear
Plus-
guns, though.
Yeah,
Or
plus,
don't use guns.
plus with the
They
pagan
do.
revival, plus with the
They do
pagan
use
revival
guns.
through the
Yeah.
earth, believers in Odin and the Norse gods is feeding them strength, which then plays on the spiritual battlefield that they're fighting the reptilians on, which is pretty effing cool. And
But
you're
the
welcome.
I wouldn't
reptilians.
say guns. I wouldn't say guns. I would say weapon. Well, they have weaponry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
But you wouldn't
also,
think-
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I just wouldn't think about the reptilians that they'd be more into hand-to-hand combat and like blood sport and sort of like arrows and knives and obsidian blades and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
that can
so-
That would probably be
well-
the honourable ones, but the scum-sucking ones that control the planet, they suck. So no.
right?
Go ahead,
Okay,
Viking.
yeah, fair enough.
No, I'm saying that's why the Asgardians do have swords and they do have spears and arrows. Just kind of in that vein of his story
Yeah.
But when they're up against an army, they're gonna actually break out their tech weapons.
The Norse gods are very fond of their magical items that are crafted by magic forges with their magical dwarves. So there's all sorts of.
And
it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you've got like a plus bazillion hammer, literally.
And you know where the dwarves live? The dwarves have a planet called the planet of wheels. Very much like this whole steampunk, where they're very much into wheels and these huge machinery and they live back in the industrial time, like steampunks.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's actually where the steampunk got their inspiration. But the dwarves love this whole mechanical, like mechanical stuff.
That makes sense.
It's analog high tech, I call it.
Yes, exactly.
They're like watchmakers.
I just got a comedic vision.
I want my airship. That's all I ask. Dwarf delivers me an airship.
I just had a great vision of the Asgardians giving mushrooms to dwarves and making them berserkers and then throwing them at the lizards.
Yeah, it's like
I'd like to see a painting of that.
Throw me across. Yeah.
Witness me.
And also, I think I'm going out on a limb here. I've got a feeling the Asgardians would be upset about Stargate SG-1, where all the Norse gods, they're greys. Mother.
Oh, really?
They're still upset about that.
Yeah,
they actually the Galactics reference Stargate a lot. They say that technology actually exists.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Oh, they say it's a documentary, basically.
Well, I actually got into
it. And they said exactly that. I mean, some of the cultures out there are very much like Stargate, where you've got...
It's exactly like it.
You still have medieval cultures, you still have primeval cultures, you have industrial cultures, you have cultures, I mean, all across the board exist in these different worlds in different galaxies. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Stargate
the same thing was Mike Proclino.
The show.
Yeah.
I actually got into Stargate. Go ahead,
Stargate
Steve.
was so self-aware as a show that they had side episodes that were dedicated to an alternate reality, which was basically like Earth, and like instead of everything being like fake, everything is like actually like distinguishably recognizable in Earth, and it's giving you massive amounts of disclosure about the jump room program and everything else.
Right.
To add to that as well, was fascinating is they got over 400 episodes. So on their 100, 200, 300, 400 episodes, to mark them, they would do a wormhole patrol or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was.
That's right.
In Stargate, there was in that world there was a TV show for plausible deniability, and it's like, okay, we're just going to show them what we're doing as an element.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Right.
I remember pointing that out once watching the show with some friends of mine. We were all fans, and I got that dead fluoride stare.
Go home now.
It's just a TV. It's just
like,
a show.
Oh my God,
Steve.
you guys are nerds. That's not even the least bit kind of scary exciting.
Did you say no? It's like that. Then wonder why you got a funny look
with you guys.
They're telling you, look. Why does the show still happen with the Stargate program for plausible deniability? And Steve's point, that meme of Leonardo DiCaprio holding a beer, pointing at the screen. Look,
Yeah.
And all of his friends are like, Steve, what's wrong with you? Seriously? Oh my God, it's just a show.
Yeah.
So I was trying to look for something that I thought was funny that I hadn't seen what was going on with it. And I found an article that says it has a video of what I was looking for is how the old anal swabs was going. And
sorry, Cortek, sorry, a bit too Australian there. Just the old anal swab. Yeah, it's all right, love.
It's called the double swab. You have to put up your butt, then your nose.
Oh, nice. There's a video that's come out, and the government is saying it's not real, but people waddling like a penguin out of there. They're saying it's not real, but it's pretty hilarious to look at.
It's that's the world we live in the overlapping of realities, where apparently an anal swab is to check if you have a respiratory problem.
It's
Yeah,
exactly
exactly.
like on South Park with that episode where the teacher makes that circular one-wheel bicycle and has to do all the motions with his hands and all that kind of stuff and like act like he's giving a BJ to the bike kind of thing to get it to go. And then at the very end he goes, "Oh no, there's normal controls if you know after the whole town had been riding them like that."
That sounds like South Park. One thing I like about South Park, it's in the latest season or the season before, is PC the principal. I need help with the names. What's the name?
Physical education dude.
Yeah, the PE guy that turns out to be the principal, and then the lady that he has an affair with.
They get married. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. The thing is, she's pregnant. And then, your water's broke. Quick, we have to go to the hospital. And the next scene, and it's so subtle, but it's hilarious. She's driving the car because she's a strong, independent woman while having contractions. It's hilarious.
He probably wasn't allowed to drive.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's just like layer upon layer upon layer of joke. Well, normal people would probably maybe let the man driving because apart from oh crap, I'm going to be a father, I can drive while the woman just concentrates on giving birth.
Sure.
But in South Park, she's driving the car, and I had to pause to laugh for that.
I have to give a minute because we've been talking about TV shows, so this is the time to bring it up. Me and a very good friend, we are watching American Gods together for the first time.
Nice.
What do you think?
Nice.
I'm on season 1, and it's episode 6 or something like that.
Oh,
and
good. Yeah.
I am enthralled. I am in love what they are doing. And that is also some very, very good disclosure on the on the mythological side of what's going on here, kind of the occultish side
from the book. From the book from Neil Gaiman. Bruce, I think you wanted to share.
Oh my God!
I was just gonna say Steve should probably qualify whether that's a special lady friend or just come out of the closet.
Oh no, special lady friend.
Atta boy.
Yeah,
boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can date during lockdown.
Yeah. Pretty soon.
Being able to have a goddamn deep conversation about the gods is so healthy for a relationship, ladies and gentlemen.
It's all
a horse
fun
doesn't
games.
count.
It's all fun and games in the beginning.
You have to qualify with gods and goddesses.
Well,
it's all fun and games.
That's right.
That's
okay. Everyone pause because Bruce has been trying to share a joke.
No. The timing is lost, Monty. This crowd is unmanageable.
No.
If I were half the man I was 5 years ago, I would take a flamethrower to this round table.
If I may, it's not the crowd.
It's all fun and games, Bruce.
It's all fun and games, but unfortunately, Skype was bought by Microsoft, and there's a massive lag. That's the problem.
Yeah, so we'll be able to dodge.
Yeah, and have you
Still
noticed
not as
somehow?
bad as StreamYard.
Yeah, have you noticed that Bill Gates is an expert on everything? I mean, why? I'm more of a doctor. I like Doctor Who. I'm more of a doctor than Bill Gates.
He's hosting the slam dunk contest.
He is just it's just micromillimeters away from just turning up with a stethoscope round his neck and a white coat.
Oh no, it's worse than that. It's worse than that because on the Unfrackers, that's not what it's called, but I would like to say close enough to the name on this show because if I say the actual name, we won't have a show. There was 5 articles about Bill Gates. It's one was medical, the other one was about food, farming, and all this stuff. And apparently, he's like the nicest Bond villain ever. And then I added, there's a 6th article where Bill Gates' Spotify playlist. Who gives a frack? Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a big publicity. He's hired a PR team to try and turn everything around, and they've got their tendrils out doing all these different things. You can see it going on. There's actually a YouTube channel that's come out with this creepy and some, I don't know, someone's picked it up somewhere and said, check out this creepy video that's been made about what would happen if we lost a billionaire, and it's like, ooh, this is he's hired a whole team.
Yeah, the latest one. The latest Bill Gates, now I have to remember. The latest one is... go ahead, Steve. Now I have to remember.
The only reason why anyone who's a public figure hires like a PR person is because either they have no personality, they're a psychopath, or they're sleeping with a whole lot of people. Which one do we think Bill Gates is?
He's psychopath. I mean,
Easy.
he's not a sexy
If
man.
I've ever seen one.
I remembered the latest one about Bill Gates, and then I'll hand off to Viking. The latest thing about Bill Gates is he's come out and said all the Western countries have to go on to 100% fake meat. And it's like, Bill Gates could end poverty. Bill Gates could end poverty, and he won't. Go ahead, Viking.
I don't think he's still around. I think this is all CGI, and it's just funny. No, he was given that technology from a higher source and put in that position to play a role. And I just think they're still using his name to play a role, but I think he's gone.
You know what? I completely agree with that.
It's like Soros. It's like Soros. Soros hasn't been around for years, but they still use his name.
I think that kind of is true too.
That shouldn't be even of a true comfort to people, because it's not really about Bill Gates. It's just his brand to sell what Bill Gates is about, which is the transhumanist depopulation agenda.
Right.
Do you remember
that's what I'm saying.
Privatized technology.
Yeah.
They're using him. They're using him as a figurehead.
Yeah.
I think you're so right, Viking. Who was that? Who's the real Mr. Burns? Monty Burns, who died a couple of years ago. Rothschild, maybe Rothschild.
Jacob
Roth.
David Rockefeller. David Rockefeller.
When he was on his deathbed, he was kind of absolutely astounded that the public thought this of him, and it feels like the same way Viking says Bill Gates is being used in the same kind of way. Whether it's his wife, whether it's the people his wife's trying to impress, who knows?
But if you read his origin, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, do you remember when Bill Gates, the federal government actually broke up his company because of the monopoly that he had, and he was being interviewed in the Senate, I think it was. I'm an outsider. I don't know exactly everything about American politics, and I thank God every day that I don't. But someone showed some footage of a senator going, you believe that the other companies were a threat, and it went on for 30 seconds where Gates didn't understand the word threat. What do you mean? No, concerned. So you were concerned about other companies? What do you mean? You were concerned with other companies? No, I'm not getting it. Like, this guy is a billionaire that's, he's fantastic and a genius and can't understand simple English words in, comprehension. Which reminds me, I shared a meme about Gene Carano, basically where... it was a meme, and the top half was basically saying Gina Carano points out that leftists are doing cancer culture, and then there's a scene from Attack of the Clones where it's Newt Gunray going, she can't do that, shoot her or something. And me and 3 other people had an argument with this one. I had another Twitter battle. Joy.
Uh-oh.
Basically saying, the premise of I'll condense it because we're coming up to a break. The whole premise was, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And after 6 or 7 times of pointing that out, he still didn't get it. I understand, but what do you mean? Well, if you're asking what it means, you don't understand. Or basically, they responded, you can't deal with stupid. And we're like, We've said the point 7 or 8 times.
This video that I was talking about, this Bill Gates video, has been scrubbed in the meantime.
Of course.
Sorry, go on, Steve.
Go on, Steve. We're about a minute out.
It's Jacob Rothschild. Here's the meme that points it out for you. So there you go.
So just like what the Simpsons used to model Mr. Burns.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. So, I've had a great first half of the show. I know what we talked about, and it's been up vibe, and so I think we're just doing that classic Planet Collingwood of hitting every subject we possibly can to confuse all the alphabet agencies. Like, what the hell are we talking about now?
Yeah.
So, which is always fun. You're listening to Revolution Radio Studio A. This is Planet Collingwood. My name's Monty Dean. You are awesome. We will return in a few moments after these messages. So go feed the cat, go to the toilet, go get a cup of coffee. Don't mix them up. I'm sharing my life too much. We shall return, ladies and gentlemen. See you soon. Welcome back to Planet Collingwood. Oh, the echo's back.
We have to think of something to do with this. Someone start beatboxing.
No,
I muted it.
Yeah, now we have to wait till someone actually wakes up to unmute it now, unfortunately. Yeah, but it's hard for people following, so we can't hear the breaks. And plus, I try and work jokes in. So anyway, moving on.
I can unmute it. Unmute it.
Well, if you can, because when it happened last time, I wasn't able to unmute it. So.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's the only problem, because the person who actually has the contact can only unmute it themselves, which is the only problem with that. So I worked around it where I basically pretend I'm Zeus and use the echo and talk silliness. So
yeah, I won't do it again.
There you go. See, it's a learning. Yeah, Planet Collingwood, educational.
A learning curve.
It's a learning curve, yes, and that's part
We
of
need
the
to come up with
existence of
some
Earth.
kind of barbershop quartet thing for that echo when it comes up.
Oh yes. Well, what two shows ago, I was telling myself I love myself. It was just quite good. It came across right. You are listening to Planet Collingwood here on Revolution Radio Studio A. If you enjoyed the last hour, I did. I don't think I need to donate to myself though, because I'm alive. I've done enough. Please donate to the station to keep Studio A and B of Revolution Radio up and running. We still live in a matrix that money, which is a talisman for energy, to continue on so we can pay the bills. It is 100% listener supported, 100% volunteer. And if you're on YouTube, just click on my PayPal button and sling me a couple of shekels, and I'll be able to pay rent and continue on. Let's be fair. And we were talking about a lot of things. So this episode is called "The President's Brain is Missing," and I remember during the break, I remember two things about it. Apparently, Emperor Biden wakes up and turns to his wife, who could be a doctor, and says, "Where are we?" And it's been 4 weeks, apparently, living in the White House. I was like, yeah, that's the type of person you want to...
They're not in the White House.
I know. It's what the type of person you really want in charge of the nuclear football, if he ever gets to that point. As well as there's a backlash in Washington, D.C., because the people who live there want their city back. Because apparently the most popular president in the American history of 80 million votes still has to have an 8-foot fence and thousands of National Guard there because they're afraid of the people. What? I have you noticed with this reality that we're going through in 2021, you're turning into Kyle from South Park in the 9/11 episode where he's going, really? Everything? Really?
I think really there's a different reason for that fence and the guards. It's not to keep people out, it's to keep people in. I really believe that to be true, because the White House is vacant. You know, they finally started raising the flag again, but there's still lights out at 11. And the Bidens are living in Hollywood. They're not in Washington, D.C. The whole... And 2 weeks ago, they even had he was speaking about the Pentagon, and he's on a podium in the Pentagon background. And when he left, the camera panned out, and you could see it was a set. The whole top was lined with lights, and they had built a set to look like the Pentagon. The whole thing, the whole thing. I mean, if you look at any of the past recordings of him in the Oval Office, you notice the back corner, the set's falling apart. There's a huge gap in the wall.
I saw a gap between the walls too.
Yeah,
there's a huge gap.
Be very careful right now, because this is good, as we understand. Like I've contended, there is no president of the United States right now. However, there are certain things that were in the safety net because there is no president, where everything's being held. So things are falling apart in that respect. 30 cents this week. Gas prices that didn't move. The entire Trump administration jumped 30 cents this week. That's supposed to be really effing alarming to markets, and energy prices are going up.
To add to that, someone actually, I think it was Kevin Sorbo, actually shared this, that by 2019, it was the first time that America was self-sufficient with energy and fuel, and since 1957. And then Biden's come in less than 2 months and just like, nah, we'll just wreck that. Viking, go ahead.
Well, I was talking to Conrad this morning. He called me up. Of course, Texas is in a complete state of emergency with 4 million people without power. But he said that since this last storm, energy prices went from 10 cents a kilowatt to $20 a kilowatt.
It's going.
I mean, this is like what's wrong with this picture here? There's no oversight.
Well, no. I mean, you've got a president that doesn't know where he is. He does look like a walking corpse. Reminds me of Prince Philip from England, where this is a wonderful statement from Prince Philip. When I die, I want to come back as a violent disease and kill as many people as possible. And apparently, this is supposed to be he's married to the sovereign of the British Empire. That's not telling at all.
It's a fantastic joke, you see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He meets like at the Royal Variety performance. They meet the performers, I think, afterwards, and he said to a Jamaican man, "Is there? What do you do? Like, aren't you supposed to be?
Are you
help?"
stationary? Yes.
Yeah. It's like I love the show The Crown, and I invest with those characters.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a toss about the real people. It's like, you people are idiots, but the show's fantastic.
But the Crown has actually been defunct. They no longer exist. Their main Parliament building, what they call that, the main building,
House of Lords.
Downing Street.
No, where they live, the Queen lives in
Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham
Palace has been boarded up for over a year. They've been exiled to Windsor Castle, and she's actually dead. She's not alive anymore, and I don't think Prince Charles is alive anymore either. They're both dead.
Interesting.
And that whole place has been dismantled. As far as the city of London goes, it's been dismantled, like the Vatican's been dismantled.
Mm. Interesting that Prince Harry and Miss Merkel, they've announced they're having a second child, and it's all through the tabloids and all through the media, and it's like, didn't you people leave the royal family to get away from the limelight?
Yeah, and check this out, Monty. Guess where they moved to? My town.
So yeah,
Isn't that funny?
Which is interesting because they didn't want to move to America because of Trump and all this type of stuff. And you just see photos of them both, and you can see Harry's just a beaten down man. It's kind of weird.
But my town, of all places, it's kind of
that's where Merkel's from. I mean, she's an actress, right? So I mean, she would go back to her.
Yeah, well, she was. Yeah,
and so she's going back to her homies. But they went to Canada first. What they were doing, they were escaping the reptilian line. They totally didn't want anything. They were showing they didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah,
they made a choice.
Rats leaving the ship. There's a theory that when, if, or now the Queen dies, they'll skip Charles because it's problematic, and they'll just go to William because that's better marketing. But it's
dead.
It's a tradition, and it's God's will. It's like, well, actually, no. If you look at the history, it's not God's will. It's a warlord with a big sword that killed all the enemies, and that's how they became king. Just looking at history. Not kinda. That's actually what happened. Have you heard of the War of the Roses?
More than that, they're infiltrated by the reptilians. The whole house is reptilian.
And now I don't know if it's 100% true, but yes, I know. But the reptilian angle, it just fuels the fire because when the Queen's mother died. She was, just nearly 4 foot tall, but her coffin was 8 feet long. Now, I don't know if she reverted back to her reptilian size, or there was Smithers, there was a footman buried with her or something. But it's like, hang on, she's not that big. What's going on?
Right.
Right.
Couple of hats in there.
Oh, it just reminds me as well, I shared a meme of, it was Mr. Bean cheating on a test, and someone put Mr. Bean was God, and someone doing the test was the writers of The Simpsons. Because The Simpsons just seems to be predicting all of this stuff. It's kind of scary.
Speaking of that,
there's like five or six different times when The Simpsons have done that. I don't know what's going on. I can't figure it out, but it's one of those things. Sorry, go on.
The London Olympics. I just watched the London Olympics opening ceremony. Go and watch that if you haven't watched that.
Yeah,
Have you seen this?
From memory, it was.
There's no code. It's out in the open.
It's no. It's not a code. It's like 9 years old, and they have death like a 40-foot version of it's like a bad Pink Floyd.
Nurses.
Nurses. Hundreds of beds and all this stuff. Go ahead, Steve.
That was Voldemort. So, but death, yes, but that was a necromancer Voldemort. The
that's
2012, the 2012 Special Olympics, as far as I'm concerned, the 2012 Special Olympics there was one of the most in your face, occult ritual that the world has ever participated in, especially the first two segments of the 3-part segment. The second one, preemanating the coming dominance of the medical tech tyrants. The coronavirus was coming, but the first segment was literally the worship of the industrialization of the pagan lands of the British Isles. Yep. It made me sick to my stomach, and I wanted to nuke the whole facility.
You can't nuke the Special Olympics. They always follow the normal Olympics.
Well, I was going to say, with the Special Olympics, if you're feeling down and you're worthless and you don't think your life is good enough, watch the Special Olympics and feel worse. Because, the stuff that these people can do where they're losing a limb or whatever, it makes them special, which is good. They actually have it because they have a goal and they find their passion of, like, a one-armed man throwing a javelin and all that type of stuff. My life sucks because I lost my phone. Shut up. Have you seen Barry, what Barry can do? He's in a marathon and he's only got one leg and he won.
It kind of makes the normal Olympics pretty boring.
Well, yeah, it's like, oh, look, an able-bodied person.
I don't care about the normal Olympics. I want to see, like, the Special Olympics where people are really kind of doing it tough to do what they got to do. And on the other end, I want to see people who just want to... You can take whatever you want, steroids, whatever you want, push your body as hard as it can take it, see what happens. And I want to see someone's calf just explode on the 100 meters. Multiple people just blow out.
I would like to see another step. Like the Olympic Committee should be listening to the show because there's going to, instead of like the Olympics, the Special Olympics, you have the cheating Olympics, and then you have the drug Olympics. Because
just combine it all into one. Big one.
I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he did 9 innings in baseball and got a no-hitter. Like, he striked everyone out, and he was tripping on acid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Forget the guy's name.
Yeah, I don't think it was a microdose, but it's... But no, because
it's an argument for it.
Yeah, but because he was high and in the zone, and Viking could add to this, I would say, because he was in the zone and he wasn't in fearful. There was no negativity and fearful. He just played a perfect game because the fear and the blocks were completely gone. And maybe he was afraid of the dragon umpire. Who knows? He was trying to take. That's the thing about acid. You can lose weight while being on acid because you can't get past the dragon to get to the fridge.
So I think just an important thing to talk about. Just for a quick second, because I brought up the gas prices thing before we shifted the conversation. I was looking it up. We don't have an energy secretary yet. The position has not been theoretically fulfilled. I don't see any news that Jennifer Granholm has been nominated.
From Michigan.
Yeah, because of how Trump played his exit of the office, nothing started happening until January 20th, and it also got mixed up with the National Guard situation, the investigation about why the National Guard was there in the first place at angle of the situation, and the impeachment of President Trump. All of this has stagnated. Like 99% of the false government's corporate overseers. Part of the reason why energy is falling apart is because there's no Department of Energy head. There's just somebody managing the Department of Energy, but it's all running on automatic because none of these people were selected by the incoming administration directly.
Steve, can I correct you on one little thing? A failed impeachment. And if you go to the scoreboard, that's 2-0. Donald Trump's better than Bill Clinton.
Right. I just mean the impeachment trial.
Yes, I know.
It's
a comedy
he was
show.
Gloriously acquitted. At the end of the day, it wasn't a real impeachment anyway. Neither was the first one.
And you can see one freaking out as well, where
to pretend impeachments. I mean, the coronavirus hit so fast that people forgot that he was impeached.
Yeah, well, that was I remember Bruce and I pointing out when they announced their impeachment. It's like, why are you doing this a year before? You do it 3 months before the election, and that would have messed everything up. But have you seen? And I'll go to Viking in a second. But yeah, did you see drunk grandma Nancy Pelosi freaking out because she didn't get her way because she's 4 years old, like slamming on the podium? She actually interrupts a press conference. I didn't actually hear it because but she's muffling behind it. She couldn't find a vodka or something. Start slamming the podium, complaining like, I lost my dolly. Go ahead, Steve, and then Viking, please.
There was supposed to be one more day to this impeachment, but the Republicans, or Trump's team or whatever, said that they wanted to call Nancy Pelosi as a witness if you really want to go to witnesses. So the Democrats folded like a cheap suit because they said they wanted to talk to Nancy Pelosi as a witness of the events of the 6th.
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah. Okay, we Democrats, we're going to call witnesses, and the other side is like, oh, cool, we'll call it. Oh, no. So
what Nancy doesn't want to do is be asked questions as to why the party folded at the suggestion that she tell people what she's telling us. Yeah. Because isn't that the whole point? Was because of what you went through personally. Your laptop was stolen, madam. Don't you think you'd want to, are you desperate to get rid of Trump? We don't understand, madam.
Speaker, someone defecated,
madam.
Someone defecated in your office, and hopefully that wouldn't come out of the rug. Going to someone more sensible. Viking, go ahead, please.
I was going to say this whole fake administration. So you're looking at in 3 days is the 20th. So anything he signed after takes a month. So we're going to see what's going to happen from the 20th to the 24th. I know Cliff High's been talking about something. There's a huge. I'm seeing it also. There's an algorithm that's occurring here where there's something to do with the administration, something to do with silver. It could because I think it's the 20th to the 24th. All silver contracts have to come due, and the largest contract that was ever had to be settled was 80 billion ounces. There's 400 billion ounces that are on the short. And SLV, just in the past day or two, has announced it doesn't have enough silver. The silver supply is not enough to cover any or hardly any shorts at all. I don't know what happened to the silver, but it's gone. So we're going to see a huge... And the fact that the 20th being that marker where his EOs are going to be becoming effective, I really think that by Friday over the weekend into Monday is going to be a huge weekend for both the administration and for silver.
Yeah, the 22nd of February has popped up on a lot of people's radars, which is the Monday, and
it's also too.
So that I was going to get to you, Steve, because I know there's an astrological thing going now. Short version: how many planets are in Aquarius? Like this week, 7 planets are in Aquarius. It's like I think Earth. The other planet, the 2 other planets would be going. Oh, why is everyone over there? Why am I left out? It's in the sky in our system. It's very interesting what's happening.
Also, there's going to be a very, very long square of Uranus in Taurus to Saturn in Aquarius.
Yeah.
That is a recipe for chaos magic revolution.
Oh boy, baby.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where pushback would be one way of saying it. Viking.
Yeah.
Well, also on the 21st, Mercury goes direct. Which is very interesting. That's all happening at the same time. We're going to finally get out of this retrograde, which has been ball buster, I must say.
Yeah.
But 21st being that Sunday, everything goes direct.
In 3 days, also, it'll be the 20th. That will be 1 month that Biden has been believed to have been inaugurated. And Michael Flynn, who likes to hint to the fans, said, he quoted George Washington about give me 30 days. So I say in the next 3 days, we're going to have something begin the turnover dialogue in a forced way because of something that still works on the justice system, on the court level, something that still works, because there are court cases that are pushing through to the Supreme Court now. They're lining up now as Mercury goes direct to hit the Supreme Court in a way that Roberts cannot block, because it's going through proper process and procedure.
Oh, and those playing at home, when Mercury goes direct, everything that happens to you is your fault. It's not Mercury's fault anymore. So that's the fun part. It's like, oh, it's Mercury retrograde. I lost my keys or I stubbed my toe. After it goes direct, no, it's all you, bitch. I say that respectfully, of course. So, yeah, we do live in interesting times, and yeah, I sort of was feeling like the grind and being pushed down, but then for me it was, as we going from 3D to 4D, as we slowly go through the densities, that's part of it, of like, well, I just should let go of that, and I made the conscious decision of, well, I don't need the grind. I'm allowing the universe to unfold, and it's kind of fun, and I'm enjoying myself, following my passion. Apparently watching all of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the same time is my passion at the moment. But it's cool. There's a lot of people, you can see a lot of people, the way they're reacting, they want to stay in the 3D, and they're getting very angry, and they're reacting so badly, like, Gina Carano's this anti-Semite. What, because she just mentioned the Holocaust? You can't even mention this thing, and this is from the same group of people that have been calling the Trump administration Nazis for 5 years. So it's that classic line, to quote Paul Joseph Watson, it's fine when we do it. Viking.
Well, what's interesting here is that we're actually 4 to 5. 4 is the chrysalis. It's the transmutation of our soul, and the 5 is the phoenix out of the fire. We're raising out of the fire of this so-called cultural holocaust. So I spoke about the bifurcation of timelines that we're actually in, and if you notice, it's getting even wider. The people that are in 3D are getting more upset and more angry, and there's more people that are actually waking up and understanding that this whole thing's a ruse. It's a matrix. So we have this definite division occurring. The download I got this week was, it's not that the light is going to win over dark or good over evil, but we have what's called a classic perfect storm of duality. We have a juxtaposed duality of existence on this planet, and they're going to basically absolve each other. They're going to absolve each other. And what's going to come out of that is our unification of our true spirit. So it's not like one. This is why it's important not to have expectations or judgments of the dark. The dark has to play out. They're actually reflecting the light in their actions. So in reflecting the light, people are waking up, and this is why I've been saying now for a year, it has to play out to the bitter end. Yeah. But the only people out there that are upset because they have expectations, they want to see a perp walk, they want to see they want all that. No, this is in divine order, man. It's in perfect order. We're in the perfect storm of this duality, and I'm just really this has never occurred in galactic history where we get to see it in our lifetime. We don't have to die to ascend. We can actually find our ascension, so-called ascension. I believe we're already ascended beings. We've just been dumbed down. Our DNA and our chakras are aligning. We're approaching our 12th strand of DNA and our 12th chakra as we come into this enlightened period.
Well, yeah, I jokingly say, and how I work, where it's usually truth, but I hide it in comedy, where I am God, and people start having a go at me. It's like, hey, agreements were made. I'm not the creator. I'm a fractal of the creator having this experience. And
God's
we're all
lowercase g.
Gods and goddesses, man.
There you go. Bruce, would you like to share your view?
My comic timing was lost there, Monty. I've lost my edge on these roundtables doing that goddamn morning show.
Yeah, and also you live very far away. So someone standing on the string between the two cans.
Half the man I was 5 years ago, I would take a flamethrower to this round.
But you're ascending, brother. You're ascending.
Is that Bruce or Nick Nolte?
But
Frank Slade, Al Pacino, of a woman.
But that's one thing. Like during during the Unfrackers show, the theme at the moment, well, for me anyway, and it sort of can lean to what Viking was saying. Balance. There seems to be a form of balancing going on. Is that the right word? Balancing. Yes. Yeah.
So.
Sure.
So. Yeah, I
also
kind
say
of
harmonization.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, I agree in some measure, about 80% with what Viking is saying. There's something exceptional going on here, and it's non-normative. I mean, whoever it is that creates universes, when they get together and have their meeting every trillion years or whatever, and they review the notes, this free will experiment in our galaxy will go down. This will be the one for the books. Like there's something really weird going on. It's not a lot of stuff. So I've done 3 books. I'm on my 3rd book in the last 2 years. So I did Stardust Ranch. I did Bob Wiegand, the Navy SEAL, very 4th dimensional black magic, blood magic kind of story. Now I'm doing a book with Andrew Bartzis. Each book has a different effect on me because you kind of sync up with the co-writer. So Stardust Ranch was, I had grays here. I had some weird stuff going on. And Bob's thing was just through the roof, man. I went into hell for 72 hours. The book with Andrew, I spontaneously cry a lot, and I've completely liquefied and vacated my bowels 3 times in 6 weeks.
And not from fear. Not from fear.
Yeah. No. I
I
call him and I tell him, and he says, "Oh, that's just you're releasing a whole bunch of negative toxins in your colon." I said, "Yeah. Thank God I don't do the laundry around here."
Well, that's the interesting thing about being a spirit and a human experience on the planet Earth, which is a free will planet in a free will solar system, in a free will galaxy, in a free will universe. You can shit away the pain.
Yeah.
So like I'm having because remember everyone, life is better after a big poo.
Like Lady Aya will teach you quite a thing about purging. Quite a thing, especially if you want it.
Now that may explain why toilet paper is such looked after, treasured just before a lockdown.
Well, I'd like to think that, but there wasn't enough ayahuasca on the market to justify it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so yeah, that's always fun when you have a spiritual experience. It's like, and the Colin says, "You know what? I'm going to work at 100% today." Well, yeah. Actually, someone in the last YouTube of Planet Collingwood, someone actually went through and did that, topic points and did all the time markings. Good luck with this show. Every 2 minutes, now they're talking about donuts, and then they've gone to manifolds, and now knitting, and
that's quite cool to be able to jump through like that.
Yeah, it is quite good. It's like, well, I don't need to hear all that crap. Oh, this is something I like. But thank you to that person who actually did that. I'm doing something right. So yeah,
that's cool.
I'm going from C. I'm almost a C+ celebrity. So hey, ladies. Oh, that was one thing on the Unfrackers as well. Dating's hard in lockdown. I know. So it's interesting, but there's still a question for the panel. There's still your God spark. There's that. It's not hopium, but there's sort of a knowing of everything's going to be all right. I mean, it could be 1%, 99% freaking out of what the hell's going on. But there seems to be deep inside. There's that little spark of going, it's fine. Calm down. You'll be all right. Stop making those stupid decisions. Maybe that's just me. But Bruce and then Viking. What do you say to that? There's that sense that it's going to be all right, isn't there?
Well, what I've noticed is that there's a very, 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 very fine karmic stitching in this chaos. It seems chaotic, but you're still going to get your individual karmic allotment. As long as you follow your heart, and as Viking says, you follow your passion, you'll be in the right place. So while everybody else is just pulling their hair out, where's my next meal going to come from? Am I going to make rent? How long? I'm in an economic renaissance. I'm doing better on this mountain than I did in downtown Toronto working in tech. And it's all come in the last like 3 months or so, with work, well, 6 months, we'll say. So I have new work, which is very good, very lucrative. The abacus coming in. Not only are the Nicaraguan cutters here, because they're the only guys that can work this deforticator machine. It's what makes the fiber from the banana stalk. Not only are they here, they're not leaving. They're building a house. So I bought another 40 hectares of abaca, right?
And
so,
this is the myth of the MacDonald god in Costa Rica. This is where it starts. Viking.
Yeah.
Viking.
Don,
Steve.
Bruce, you're the new Quetzalcoatl. When you're gone, they will tell legends of your return, and then some weird alien species will conquer them, and it'll go all over.
The feathered god MacDonald, eh? Yeah.
So one of the things I think that's going to happen is that anybody who's gone through this process, who's been on Earth for the last however million years or whatever, and we go that long down here, we're going to have like all of these experiences of the dualistic universe, which, by the way, Viking's right. It's not going to cycle out to karmic balance. This is not going to be closed with an even till. They're just sort of ending the game, is what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's gone on long enough.
Yeah.
And so now some of the really, really dark ones will be recycled through the central sun of the universe. All of their individuation as a spark of source will be lost, and they'll go back to the very beginning of the creational process in minerals and stuff like that, which is about the worst fate that could happen to you, right? It's worse than even the medieval Catholic hell descriptions. But a lot of people are going to be forgiven, and forgiveness is a big part of what's going on here. And I mean, if you can see your own soul record, your own Iskazhic record, I can't. I'm not a time traveler, but you can intuit it, you can feel it, right? But I mean, we've all done horrible things down here, everybody. Everybody's done.
If I may, I'll just add a short sentence and then please follow on. The way I see it, if you see Earth as an experiment, whatever's going on. It's like in a basic level of science, it's a question. I wonder what would happen if we had free will, and we're coming to the end of that, and from now on in creation, it's like, what about, no, we've done that, look at this. We're not going back. It's like, say, what would Lou Reed and Metallica make for an album? Oh, Lulu, and that will never happen again. That type of thing. It's like the question's been asked, there's an answer, let's move on. Viking, go ahead.
Is that I Am the Table song?
Yeah, I'm the table. I'm a lounge chair. Viking, go.
I like that
album. How James Hetfield falls flat on a turn of phrase, but it happens, I guess.
Yeah. Viking.
Well, it's true what Bruce is saying here. In the Vedas, they refer to this the so-called mindscape or this chaos is a sea of samsara, where you're just kind of bouncing up and down, bouncing up and down. This chaos, as you were referring to, Monty, is reflective of our karmic encumbrances, of all the negative aspects that we have yet to resolve, is going to reflect as our chaos. See, so you can see it as chaos, or you can take a step back and see, well, what part am I missing here? What part am I still tying into? What part is still tethering me to this chaos? Because some part of this is self-reflection. It's just like Trump derangement syndrome of all the people out there that still hate him is because he's reflecting their karmic encumbrances, right?
Yeah.
So it really is.
Yes.
It really is an opportunity here to really understand. You don't have to be part of the chaos. If you are, it's because you're still in a reflective mode of your process of evolution, let's just say. That's one of those common on this dating thing, because of the coronavirus. Sunday being Valentine's Day turned into Singles Awareness Day.
Yeah, and it's very simple. I forgot my thought. Damn, it will come back to me in the wrong point in time.
3, 2, 1.
No, that just made it worse, actually, Cortek. Thank you for trying. It's like, oh, focus more. Have you ever had that where it's like, where did I put my keys? And you're thinking so much.
Where's my sunglasses?
Yeah, exactly. And if this is one of the, if you turn your brain off for a second, not completely, but if you wipe the hard drive for a second, and then you go, oh, they're on my head.
Turn it off and mentally walk back to where you were when you had that first thought, and there's still traces of that thought beginning there.
Yeah, mind you, this is a deep one, so it'll come back to me on Friday.
In the middle of the night, 2 a.m.
Like, oh, have you ever had that? And it's like, I should have said this, and it's like, yeah, the higher self's messing around with you.
I think you need a good poop.
I've had 2 already today. Let me tell you, it's
Okay.
like I feel a bit off, and like, oh dear, I love God and all His holiness. So yeah, it's the small things that make it very interesting.
You're too connected to the lower chakra.
Yes, because the third eye is connected to the lower third eye, and you need to flush occasionally. Flush it out.
That's right.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's letting the universe unfold, and it's fascinating to just see how everything. When people argue is free will. If free will does actually exist. And it is both, because when before you were born, the higher self plans out a basic, like a hallway, but there's 10 million ways of walking down that hallway. So there's free will, but there's actually a direction. You can have 100% free will, but you'll notice that things go really wrong if you're completely off your path. Well, I don't want to do that.
Tolkien.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden a bus falls on you. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I should be doing something else. Go ahead, Viking.
So I'm talking to a lot of my friends here who I cannot talk to, but what comes out of their mouth is absolute, all their fear and their judgments and whatnot. And they, everybody chooses their reality. What they are locked into manifests as their reality. It's that simple. You don't have to go there. You can manifest a reality of harmony and benevolence, and if you just step back and not engage in this process, you can be, as pointed out, just a bystander, and just find something in your life. The more you engage in your passion, you can't be in both at the same time. You're either in your passion or in your chaos. And the more you're in your passion, this chaos will start to drop away.
Yeah, I actually remembered what I was going to say, because I think I mentioned it in the last hour. It's going from, if you live in a life of comedy and then you start to be aware of the tragedy, and by allowing things to sort of play out and not engage, you can observe but not give it energy. As Bashar, not the leader of Syria, says, life is meaningless until you give it meaning. You eventually go through the tragedy and you go back into comedy again, but it's a different level of comedy, where it's just, if you actually, from a higher level, if you look at when Trump actually said, I'm running for president, to now, it's hilarious. It's not if your only choice is a comedy or tragedy, it's hilarious, especially like just Trump's stand-up routines when he's playing. He's got crowds bigger than Zeppelin type stuff. Led Zeppelin, not A Zeppelin, because A Zeppelin would only about 50 people. I recently watched Indiana Jones again. I'm looking at old films and going, that's right, there used to be good art.
Yeah, he didn't have his
Indiana
ticket.
Jones is great.
Yeah, he came back on today on Telegraph and eviscerated Mitch McConnell. He eviscerated him.
I actually, someone tweeted, this Mitch McConnell's an idiot, and I tweeted back, we in the turtle community have no connection or back Mitch McConnell at all. Because he does look like a turtle, which we're running out of time, but I would love to have a quick talk, not now, Viking, but a quick talk of how people look like animals, and I think it's part of the mixture of DNA.
Well, especially a master and their dog is a classic one.
Yeah,
that's right.
Classic.
Yeah, and that's the fascinating thing as well. Like a lot of people. For me, in my experience, I'm going through this with my cat, and so like it's the witch and the familiar, or the wizard and the familiar, and it makes things so unique or slightly different. Like, there are people that are happily married and have kids, which is a fantastic, unique experience because you've got other humans that, there's a group, 4 people going through this experience. Then you have people that, thank you, Cortek, I didn't need to see that. Well, it looks like he's about to spit venom. Spit venom. Or he's going to have a big poop.
Picture I can find.
Snapping turtle.
Snapper turtle.
But also, to round off the pet thing.
His neck is currently trying to swallow his chin.
All 7 of them. Yeah. The interesting thing is because if you have a pet, doesn't matter what type of animal. And Bruce, you could probably lean to this because you've got. Are they pets? You've got livestock. You've got horses. You've got dogs.
Are they pets? Are they people?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, my cat's not. Legally, she's a pet, but stuff the legal system. She's a friend and a fur baby, and all that. But it's because it's that uniqueness of like, well, I'm going through all these changes, and then if you have a cat, it's like, well, they're going through something similar, but it's completely different as well. And then there's that trying to connect with the animals and everything else like that. And of course, Bruce is a god on his mountain. It'll be completely different because he tapped into that whole natural balance of existing. And I just realised I'm starting to get jealous. But Bruce, what is the relationships with the animals that you have? Even like the ones that want to kill you?
Well, okay. Well, my domesticated animals. I mean, the cats they're just total bitches, right? But the cats, seriously, don't even get me started on male cats. They're the first ones I give away. They're just completely useless, right? And they cause all kinds of problems if you have multiple cats. So I give them away.
They piss everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got
the
a female
dog.
cat. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
My pit bull, man, this dude can read my mind now. We can talk to each other. We've been 7/24 together for 3 years. The horses, it's harder for me to build a relationship with a horse. I really don't know what I'm doing. My wife has really good relationships with the horses. They'll follow her all around for kilometers walking. Just follow her. Right, and but there's one horse I like, a little Pinto we have, but the other ones they're just, they haul a lot of abaca and stuff like that. You can ride them and everything, but I don't know. The wild animals, I just let them be, man. The howler monkeys, if I see a snake, I kill it. Like on sight, I go get my machete and I kill it. You have to.
Yeah,
it's a rule up here, right?
Really?
You kind of. Yeah, you kind of have to. We've had 3 bites on the mountain this year, and none for like 10 years, and then 3 in a year. And I mean, everybody's fine. You got to go to the clinic, get the anti-venom. Your foot or wherever you got bit swells up like a football. And then what else? I don't see many big cats. I hear them once in a while. There's weird stuff you see every once in a while. You got to stop the ATV because there's an armadillo crossing the road. Big snakes sometimes. Coyotes come in sometimes, not all the time. But yeah,
how about the elementals?
Yeah, they're here in a big way. They're here in a big way. There's all kinds of fourth dimensional life here. It's like really fourth dimensionally rich. You kind of start to blend into it after a while. Like, I'm not making this up. We openly talk about this on the mountain, people who live here, right? Yeah, the only people who kind of make fun of it, are just the alcoholics and stuff. They don't get it because they've shut themselves all down. But there's an incredible dream space here. Like, you dream every night. It's like you dream all night, every night.
Wow.
In the rainforest. It's like you have a whole separate life at night. It's really quite astounding.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
My dream last night was very fascinating. I interviewed Steve Moffat, who was the showrunner of Doctor Who. It was fascinating. We didn't bring up the latest Doctor Who. We just sort of, I have weird dreams like I've hung out with Metallica about 8 times, and I have no idea why.
I hung out with Metallica once in a dream. Bruce, you should try toning the Ewaj rune with one of your horses while trying to kind of like just be connective with it. That rune is very specific towards horses, because Ewaj is the Indo-European root for equus, which is the species of horse, and so the Ewaj is it's about empathic relationships, and horses are highly empathic, and they bond with you in a very unique way, a lot like a dog. So but it's a little bit different, especially because the horse may in fact be more intelligent than a dog, plus what they're capable of.
Yeah, it just reminds me of from Stargate SG-1, the Gold. I think I'm saying that right. Who
Gold?
The one that joined the team. He was a renegade, and he was trying to learn the Earther slang. It's like, so do you want to come along? Undomesticated equine would not drag me away. Instead of wild horses wouldn't drag me away. And the other one I just remembered, if you need a laugh, check out The Far Side. Gary Larson is a comedic god, and the one that I remembered is he actually did a panel, it's a single panel, and it says horses are introduced to America, and they're all standing up and shaking hands with the natives. Hello, I'm Trigger.
Has he started doing stuff again? Because he stopped there for a while, but I thought he started.
What happened to him? Yeah.
I think he's set up his own website, and he doesn't have a daily one with the newspapers. He's changed his career.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with the guy Charles Schultz, who wrote Peanuts. He wrote Peanuts till he was 80, retired, and died in 2 weeks because he gave up his passion.
Same thing like Garfield or something like that.
That Far Side guy's a comic genius.
Yeah, and so I think it's so easy for him because he's been drawing for decades. He doesn't have the pressure of doing it every day, but he would still be having comedic thoughts. Like one of his famous one is cow tools, and it's a cow standing at a bench with all these weird shaped bone things, and no one can understand what it is, but it's hilarious.
My favourite is like looking at the building, and there's the sign over the front door saying "School for the Gifted." The guy's pushing, and it says "Pool."
Really into this was actually one of the things I was really into in my younger years. Like, I don't know, like when I was 10 or something. Was like I remember I had a couple of volumes of the Far Side, like all of his comics compiled, and I had at least I think 3 volumes. Of the Far Side. So Gary Larson, like that is that is deep, good, like inner child stuff.
He's done so much.
Yeah, like you can get a daily calendar type thing, and it's a different one of his each day, and it's just the laugh that you need to help. Mind you, not for everyone that's listening, because we don't have a 9-to-5 job per se. I mean, if you do have a 9-to-5 job, why are you awake at 20 to 4 in the morning? So, if you're on the East Coast, but hey, no judgment. You live your life how you like, especially now. Like in about let me do maths. 4 hours and 10 minutes, Victoria comes out of its lockdown. And we've been in lockdown stage 4 for 5 days, which is interesting for a virus that incubates for 2 weeks, but let's not bring up maths. And yeah, it's see, that's part of the awakening where, like, you know, we have to follow the science. Well, if the science could keep on track, because in the last 12 months, masks are bad, masks are good, lockdowns are good, lockdowns are bad. And if you want to see a complete shit show, and I'm not swearing, that's a technical term after 2020, just look what's happening in the UK, because they keep changing it completely, where pubs are open till 10 because apparently the virus only comes out at 10 o'clock at night. And have you noticed you try and
like
be
Jack the Ripper?
Yeah, that type. 1.5 meters apart or 6 feet apart. And if you go to a grocery store or the supermarket, or everyone's trolleys are further away, but you're only a meter or 3 feet apart from the next aisle. So apparently the virus only goes forwards and backwards, not left or right. And the UK is a perfect example of, like, they have no idea what's going on. Because
how about football games?
Say that again, Viking?
football games, I'm sure they're not even administering that, right?
Well, no, here in Australia, they actually had for no crowd or very sparse crowd, but they had cutouts of people in the crowd, so it looked like someone was looking.
My God.
Yeah, and it's like real, and they had
It's a lot of
competition.
cardboard.
Yeah, I know. It's like, is it made out of hemp? No. Radio stations were using them as call-in prizes. You can get Dave, who sat behind the bowler. I'm like, why?
You could tune into this cam here.
Yeah, and it's just, and of course the sports need to keep going. The whole lockdown thing has been during the Australian Open, which is the tennis Open, and it's basically it's the second time that the government has made a mistake and there's been an outbreak, because the last time it happened was when we went to hard lockdown in the middle of the year and 800 people died, but the government won't actually take responsibility because the Victorians were doing it all together and we'll beat this. It's like, well, if you actually do your job, there wouldn't be outbreaks. And hypocrisy at its best, Premier Daniel Andrews has been nominated for a political award because of what he's done in the last 12 months. And it's like,
I'm surprised his face isn't on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah, it's that level of like, he's so incompetent, doesn't take responsibility, there's no leadership, and every decision is political and not medical, and people have died. Oh, he's awesome. Go ahead, Viking.
So if you look at the CDC website, less people have died in 2020 than 2019. Funny enough, no one's died of cancer. No one's died of motorcycle accidents or heart attacks or diabetes. It's just,
terrorism.
Do your research. Do your friggin' research. I mean, this is what pisses me off.
Yeah,
this is just absolute asinine.
Yeah, on RT, Russia Today, there was a headline: "Scientists baffled that influenza has disappeared."
Exactly.
No. And let's go. I'm sorry. We'll just go back to Stan. Stan, what do you think about that? Really? Go ahead, Viking.
I don't know of anybody in my circle that has got the flu this year. I mean, nobody has gotten the flu. It's just gone.
Yes. Yeah. It's been relabeled. It's
no.
Like,
No. I'm saying not even COVID types. I mean, nobody is sick in my area.
Well, yeah, that's sort of a beneficial effect of the actual lockdowns and movement is like the natural flu season's gone. And then you have, I know we've only got about 3 minutes, but, Governor Como, he killed more people than Osama bin Laden. He's going to have fun.
He's up for trial now. He's up for trial.
And let me tell you something. See, the thing is, despite all this stuff, because of the array of symptoms that they worked with, most people in like kind of like the normie world who's always in and out with everybody, knew people over the year who had certain symptoms, and then they freaked out because one in like 10 people that they knew that got it had it real bad. And they were either really laid up in their own house for like a week, or they did have to go to the hospital and get put on a respirator. And because just enough of that was out there, whether it was perpetrated by hospital procedures or whatever it was.
Yeah, here in Victoria,
it was enough for people to just wear the mask because their loved ones, they were scared for their loved ones, their friends' loved ones, as a matter of respect. There's still the ignorance, and it's super frustrating because this is coming from the people that lost the least, and they did nothing to pressure the politicians to do something that for people who lost the most. There was no will behind the people to tell the Congress to do the right thing, except for, well, quite frankly, the Trump people, but because you're a Trump fan, you're not allowed to get what you want, even though what you want is, well, the right thing.
Did you hear that?
Just very quickly, Viking. Here in Victoria, they the symptoms that you have to look for, and I read them all, and it's like, well, I smoke, and I have 80% of them already. Go ahead, Viking.
So they're doing a bill where they're eliminating pigeons for fear that the Trumpers might be able to communicate to one another.
How are they doing that? Do you know?
Oh, that's because the pigeons are all castrated. Coo. It's a bill.
They carry, they used to carry pigeons to during the war, to be able to do messages, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we did have
You
legitimate
ever see King
issues in Australia where kind of bigger animals were brought in, hoping that they would get rid of the smaller ones in a
gee,
stupid,
let's
simple
not-
kind of way.
let's not go
You ever
there.
see the movie? You ever see the movie King of Hearts?
No.
No,
Oh
No.
man, write that down. Write that down. You've got to see that. It came out in the '60s.
I do remember seeing a a cartoon, Hanna-Barbera, I believe, which is Stop That Pigeon. And it was, I think, based around World War One, where the pigeon had a flying helmet and a scarf. It's a cartoon.
No.
But the whole premise of the show is the evil guys are trying to stop the pigeon getting the message through. And there's a famous, stop the pigeon, stop the
But
pigeon.
if you can, King of Hearts is an absolutely phenomenal movie.
Oh, another one, speaking, The Mouse That Roared. It's a Peter Sellers film. It is hilarious because Peter Sellers plays about 8 roles. And it's basically the smallest country in Europe. Somehow, during a hydrogen bomb exercise, they invade New York and take over the United States. And one gag is one of the soldiers steps on gum, and the joke is chemical warfare. So that's in the 60s as well, and The Mouse That Roared is very funny.
And
I've
shot in
been
the
loving
dark.
50s and 60s films. Really.
Oh, yeah. Now, we're coming up to the end of Planet Collingwood. The president's brain is missing. And so let's just go through the list. I'll look at the list now. Brandon Young, the old B. Young yo. Where can people find you, sir?
You go to twitter.com. Brandon Young, 82.
Excellent. Cortek, can people just see you on public transport?
People may be able to see me on public transport if they look hard enough.
Oh, yes, he's the man he's wearing a mask. That should cut it down for everybody. Steve Zerilath, where can people find you, sir? And thank you for deliving as well.
Yes. DLive.com or DLiveTV.tv /Zerilath, Zerilath. YouTube, I also do some really cool stuff, youtube.com /Zerilath, and then you can find my various social medias. I'm off mainstream social media of my own will. I was not kicked off of Twitter or Facebook. I gave them the middle finger and walked out the door. And you can find me on Gab and MeWe under the same name and Minds.
You showed them all, Steve.
Yeah, take that, mother lovers.
I'm all in, baby. I'm all in.
Bruce MacDonald, where can people find you, sir?
Monday to Friday, 10 to 12, Studio A.
Thank you for MacDonald in the morning. A very long session trying to find out how to come up with that name, I'm sure. Well, it's the morning, and I'm called. Hey, I've got anyway. I just like when when the English language
They
works.
call
When
that, They call that consonants in poetry there, Monty.
Oh,
Consonants
okay. Right.
and assonants, where you get the vowels and the consonants working together musically. MacDonald in the morning.
Yeah, nice. I do like the English language where all the information's in the title. Like Desert Rats, guess what they do? They go into the anyway. And Viking, where can people find you, sir?
So the Galactic Interstellar Council down the Rabbit Hood Galactic Perspective, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. Studio A. This week we'll be doing part 2 on breaking down and understanding the bifurcation of our timelines.
Excellent.
Are you going to tell them about the weekend readings you do at the top floor of the Cecil Hotel in L.A.?
Yeah, exactly.
Just go past the Shriners and you'll find us. Yeah.
There you go.
That has been Planet Collingwood for another week. We will be back in 6 days and 22 hours. Poke fun at reality because it's just funny, really. I'm sure the Prime Creator is definitely giggling, and there's a certain section of the Galactics are just giggling so much. Like even Bashar, not the leader of Sirius, are like, "Do you have TV?" "No, we look at you." So there's a Truman Show angle going on, and if you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please donate to Revolution Radio, and we will be back next week, and it's a long week on this reality, so we'll see how we go. Everyone take care, look after yourselves for most of North America, stay warm in Australia, stay hydrated, and just laugh at your politicians. That's the best way of doing these things. We will be back Revolution Radio. I'm Monty Dean. You're awesome. We'll see you soon, everyone. Goodbye.